Hey, this is Terrence. All right, today we're going to talk about the key to bright lines and how they help keep you in beast mode in life. So basically, a lot of dudes, a lot of Christian dudes especially, we try to have negotiations with ourselves when it comes to the things that we claim we want to do. And there's a concept called bright lines eating. And basically, the concept is that you establish a bright line for something. And a bright line means it's something that you do not cross. In our instance, if you want to consider like Old Testament, it would be the Ten Commandments. It's like you don't cross the bright lines. You cross the bright lines, you get thwacked. Thankfully we're under grace, and we're not, because of Jesus, because we know that we can't fulfill the law. But that's another story for another time. But the concept of bright line, again, it's something that if you cross it, you just don't. The reason why you want to put bright lines when it comes to specifically like eating is it's so much easier. It's so much easier to do nothing than it is to go down that slippery slope. Jack Canfield had a chapter in his book that said basically 99% is a but 100% is a breeze. And what that means is when you're all in, when you're full committed, it's so much easier. So when it comes to nutrition, there are two big things that as a human that we don't do very well with: refined flour and refined sugar. They are basically kryptonite for most people's bodies, like pretty much everyone's bodies. And again, you don't have to believe anything that I'm saying, but try it out for yourself. Try it out for yourself. I will encourage you, if you do plan on implementing some bright lines, and again, testing it out, because you have the power of God, because you have Jesus, because you have the Holy Spirit, do it with God's help. Like, ask God for help. Currently, my bright line is refined flour and refined sugar. And I didn't just start those both at the same time, though if you do them both at the same time, it is super beneficial. But what my wife and I did was we did a 21-day fast, 21 days of prayer and fasting. And I love how our pastor puts it, that a fast without prayer is just a diet. So go supernatural. And so I asked God, I said, Lord, I want to do prayer and fasting, help me with this. And he did. So I did 21 days of no refined sugar, prayer, fasting, no refined sugar. And it worked out really well. And I've been continuing with that. And so that took place back in February. And to give an example of a bright line, about why I established it as a bright line, is because I started that before my birthday. So there was no birthday cake. There was no birthday, hey, I'm going to do blah, blah. No. Nothing. Bright line, because I knew that I wanted that. Plus, also personally, I know that sugar is straight up kryptonite for me. I make worse decisions. I sleep worse. I just go off the rails. It really is bad for me. So that bright line really helped me out. Later on, I wanted to take it to the next level, because I do know that a lot of that flour pretty much processes and turns into sugar in your body. So I decided to do another bright line. And the bright line this time was no refined flour. This one's been more challenging. And the reason why this one's been more challenging is because you have to change a lot of your life in order to eliminate flour. Like, you have to pay attention to every restaurant. You really just can't go out and eat something randomly. And it is definitely much more of a challenge. I didn't do a 21 days of prayer and fasting on this, but I certainly asked God for help. So that has probably been going for about a month. And the body and brain benefits are substantial. They're substantial. I really encourage you all, as a Christian dude, people are going to look at you about what you're doing. And you are a living billboard. What you're doing, what you're eating, what you're putting into, basically what you're, consuming. People are looking. It's like, okay, and if we are considered to be temples, if we're considered to be bought, that means we are, like our pastor says, we are valuable, and our bodies are not our own. So we have to put it under and work on really being the best versions of ourselves possible. And it starts with nutrition. So again, if you do plan on making better choices when it comes to nutrition, I really encourage you to do bright lines, because again, it is not, when you have a non-negotiable, it's so much easier. It's so much easier to not have to think like, okay, am I going to do this? Am I going to not do this? Because willpower is a finite resource. We'll talk about that another day. And eliminating choice, you don't remove the excess energy, the excess battery that you have. So again, super important to consider the concept of bright lines. Now, one way that you can, be practical about it is choose one. Choose one bright line that you want to eliminate. It doesn't have to be flour or sugar like I did. Recommend you give it a shot, but it doesn't have to be. It could be something like, okay, my bright line is whatever form of kryptonite that is a huge challenge for me. And again, your kryptonite can be different. My kryptonite, again, sugar. That's my big kryptonite. Your kryptonite could be, it could be like Netflix. It could be Xbox. It could be anything. But you put in a line and you test it out. Personally, I like running at least 1 week long tests. You could do a week, you could do a month, you could do 3 months, whatever test you want to run. But again, run a test. Like Darren Hardy, he's a huge fan of running 30-day tests. Darren Hardy, man, his work is amazing. If you haven't checked out his stuff, check it out, darrendaily.com. It's super, super legit. You'll definitely hear me refer to Darren Hardy's work in the future. But one of the things that he likes to do is he establishes bright lines within 30-day chunks, because he always wants to make sure that he is in control and not the habit. So he'll do maybe a 30 days where he won't drink. He'll do 30 days where he won't eat chocolate. He'll do 30 days in which he won't indulge in some sort of habit or vice to make sure that he is in fact the one that's in control. So totally encourage you guys, give that a shot. But again, we are on this journey together. I am super excited to have you guys here. Let's create something awesome. Let's create something valuable. I'll see you guys tomorrow, same time. We'll talk about another concept. One of the ones that I think is super awesome is how the key to leveling up in life is consistency, tracking, and accountability. We'll talk about that tomorrow. See you guys. Love you.